Reinvention's constantly happening on all levels. Flavors, textures, that new little garnish, that new little acidy piece that gives a little pop. There's this thing called mise en place, right? And it's basically when you go to start a dish, you want to have all your ingredients ready to go. At that point, everything's this timing piece where you're timing all your food, and all the way to the point where it's served and taken to the customer. To know more and to do it right, knowing my love for cooking and my indulgence in all things food, my equal passion to Mopars and the world of restoration. Seven weeks out for the film festival. But even now, infrastructure is being put in play, which is one of the reasons I'm walking the building. Yesterday I had a team already counting the inventory, checking out all the equipment, letting me know what I'm short, do I have enough to pull the account. It's a recipe. Break it down in its components, right? And then put the components back together. Well, in our world, there's this thing called mise en place in the world of cooking. And it's a simple way of saying having all your ingredients in one place together to execute. I remember the first dish that I could actually take ownership and say that I actually cooked was this escargot Francais. I was 18 years old. I had just started as a dishwasher in this restaurant in South Lake Tahoe. There was this hardcore French chef who I think hated me. He would never show me how to cook. He's like, "Oh, you stupid American, you can't watch me." He'd turn his back and, "What are you watching me for?" I watched him pull his ingredients together. I watched, which is called mise en place, which I didn't know at the time. But I watched him pull those ingredients together, and I'm like, how do you make that sauce? I mean, I'm 18 years old. He made this sauce. It was so amazing. Marcel, the chef, for some reason that day, can't come to work, whatever happens. So I pull out the cream and the garlic. I got the mushrooms. I got the escargot. I've got this sherry wine, a very specific sherry wine. And all I could do is mimic his movements. I literally had everything lined up, and I got my garlic in, right? I deglazed with my sherry wine. Secret ingredient. Ready? Tomato ketchup. No lie. And then I put it up in the salamander gratin, and the owner eats it, and his eyes just like, no way. And then the next day, the chef comes in, and he's so angry. You stole, you're trying, oh my God, all hell broke loose. First dish I owned. I didn't learn how to read until I was in 10th grade, or spell. And by the time that happened, by the time I was, just a side note, the only way I could get to school for my senior year is my neighbor taught me how to build a car that was abandoned in my front yard. And in turn, if I did trades and stuff for him, he would help me build an engine, which that car became my high school car that got me through my senior year. So I could finish in that school. 100-mile round trip every day. That's what I was thinking. Cooking was not on the radar. I was a dishwasher at a small restaurant called Sambo's, if anybody remembers that, right out of high school. I was a dishwasher. And I would give up my half-an-hour breaks watching the skill of these guys. One guy do 600 plated meals in his 2.5 to 4 hour rush of his shift. It was unbelievable. I challenge anybody to pull it off these days. 80s, it was all French, period. You wanted to talk about food, you wanted to be great food, French was it, right? And they had a French restaurant in town, and why don't I go apply? So I went down there, and I remember Mike LaFerrier, the owner. And he's like, why do you want to work for me? What do you want to do? I go, well, I just want a job. I'll do dishes. Because now I'm probably 6, 7 months. He had really become a major mentor to me. I believe it's my girlfriend's mom, says, hey, this new cutting edge hotel's being built right in town, and they're interviewing for chefs and cooks. You know, you should really come down and live. You guys are gonna get married, blah, blah, the whole kind of, young story. Interesting enough, within the first year I took that job at that hotel, I had competed in the Junior Culinary Olympics in San Francisco. And they go into the category, and they go, blah, 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 bronze. And I'm thinking, I'm not getting anything. I don't know squat, guys. And they go, gold medal, Junior Culinary Olympics, Brad Toles. What do you think that does to a 19-year-old kid that went to 16 different schools and barely could read and not know how to do shit when he was 10th grade? Do you not think that just set the precedence to my commitment and dedication to become even more committed? Absolutely. And I was able to write Mike, kind of tears me up. And I was able to say, hey man, I made this. I won gold medal in my first competition in the Junior Olympics. And it's like making a father proud, right? 96, we came back ranking first in the United States and 5th in the world. I own at this time, I have a food service company in Orange County. I've left Hollywood Park to open up my own business. And my business was to design and customize food for other chefs. My customers were Disneyland, Century Plaza, Universal Studios, the Wynn, Palm Springs Convention Center became one of those accounts, which now has resided for over 22 years as a food service management contract for Savoury's. Today you guys are experiencing these braising items and possibly a bunch of fillets. Hopefully you'll see the chicken entrees for AP. Oh yeah, our Georgia peach short rib, brand new recipe to create this kind of a sticky barbecue, but not barbecue, it's kind of a sticky sauce done with peaches. I want you to try them because we tried them yesterday, but I'm like, I really need you to try it because you're going to go to the tasting tomorrow with the customer. So I really want your opinion on the Georgia peach. Well, and I don't take the credit. My wife, Lynn, she helps make that decision. My team does, my salespeople, my chefs, we all, my banquet manager, we all make like, hey, this is all we got, this is a winner. Really good. All right. What's your next one? Now, one time in the year, I'd be like, oh, I'll just design a tasting one at a time. And man, these things would run back into each other. Oh my gosh, I got my butt kicked so many times trying to go like, okay, we'll do it this week. And then next week, all these parties, and I got another high-end tasting. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna pull all this R&D and all these thoughts into like 2 weeks, and then take the best, and then break out the pieces that I think best fits each client base. This whole week has been R&D. We're R&Ding brand new salads and ideas. That it's one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to get it to 2,300 people, right? By the way, I give total credit for this concept coming from Mrs. Houston because of her need, her want to have her salad protected. Came about this technology of covering. Only by accident did we realize something I didn't want to do turned out to create a way to keep the salads alive. I want a nice selection to choose from. Over the years, I've developed these storyboards. When I go into a tasting a couple of days prior, I can go to my team and go, hey, I want these cuts. So you'll see a variety of cuts in this. So here's a good example, right? You'll see a variety of cuts, grilled, flavors, textures, roasted, grilled, sauteed. This gives my team and me a way to get back in state, perfect. And they also know, they walk in and it's not even, it's just boom, 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 it's done. At that very moment, Oh yeah, take this. And then as you get better as a chef and you start to understand the complexities, and if you're ever fortunate to really start to understand cultural cooking and the peasant ways the Chinese cooked, or cultures and sophisticated high-end escoffier. I mean, when you can bring those together in seconds and then start to fix it and see it come to life and then see the reaction of another human being trying something. But man, it's those pieces that makes good food. I mean, do you know what it's like to have an idea in your head and see it become a reality right in front of you? That's cooking. I'm the executive chef at Hollywood Park. I've got 350 employees, restaurants, catering, fast food, everything, you name it. Had this moment where a guy had a 68 Corvette in the front yard, had a for sale sign on it, and that became my second car that I got to build, right? And at the same time, my culinary career started. And I had to make a choice. If I wasn't cooking, I was underneath a car doing something to try to make that thing run and function. And I made a choice. It's like, Brad, you can do this. The artistry side of cooking ties with your mindset. Do this. So I chose it. And I literally walked away from cars till I was 40 years old. Every chef wants to create a restaurant. Your call. Your design. Here's the checkbook. Do what you want. The menu was amazing. It was an eclectic, multi-cultural menu that captured all types of cuisines from around the world. The menu rotated every week. The entire menu changed weekly. It was insane. With it, all I can say is, in that first year, we got a Zagat Award of Excellence, magazine articles, and all types of amazing things written about us. I couldn't have told you when I was 41 years old what a 70 Barracuda or 74 was or looked like. I couldn't have told you what a Challenger was, a Superbird, a Daytona. I couldn't have told you the difference between a 318 and a 420. I knew nothing. And I come home one day in the evening, and there's this book on my counter. Pretty big book with a sublime green billboard stripe 71 Hemi Cuda billboard stripe car. I couldn't have told you any of that. But when I looked at it, it's just something about the artistry and kind of how Mopar came about, or Plymouth and Dodge, and the battle between those guys and their whole effort. Because of the plights and their own financial struggles, they started to do these things that became a trend. But the only way I want to build a car is I want to be able to go into my building, or whatever that is, and pull it off the shelf. Well, that was ludicrous. How would you have the parts for a 68 Charger or a Roadrunner or a Cuda or a V-Code or a Hemi or any of that? And so I set out to start to collect and find as much inventory as I could. This is all 68 through 71 B and E body parts. And you're seeing from steering columns to interior parts to grills to force beats, linkages, as much original factory stuff as I can because of the difficulty in finding the real stuff. It's crazy to be held up weeks, if not months, from an electrical piece or something that has to go on the dash that is plastic that they don't repop, and you have got to hunt one down. It could take you weeks or months. I said, Brad, choose one car and learn it. Become good at it. Forget all the makes and models. It's ridiculous. Pick one brand, and then pick one car out of that brand and learn it in and out. So I just said, you know what? If I'm really going to do this Mopar thing, I got to do two things. I got to learn how to weld. I can find a painter. I can find guys that know how to do engines. I can find an interior guy. But I need to be able to put the bodies back together at the factory welds. I got to know how to do it. And I got to have the parts. The engineers put so much money and effort into building the drivetrain, they ran out of money to really engineer the cars to hold up. I mean, these cars decayed, they fell apart, they couldn't handle, they weren't painted right, they couldn't hold the conditions of salted roads and bad weather and water, and there's only a handful of it left. And then you gotta know the right guy to find the right guy that'll sell you the part. Whole set of carburetors sitting on the other side of the shelf. Wow, I didn't know none of that. So I probably spent 15 minutes with this inventory, purposely to come back and really dig into it on this particular trip. Took care of his carburetors, locked them all down on these special plates. Thinking you're gonna find another garage or something, open the door and there are the cars. 5 cars.
I was contacted by my wife, who said a friend of hers that she plays tennis with, and asked if I would help her liquidate some parts that her brother, Jim, had just died. Just the first thing I saw was carburetors, and I saw at least 50, and my chin fell to my belly button, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I think he just liked carburetors, because he was never going to use all those carburetors. I just think he had a thing for them and loved them.
And I knew once, the phone call and everything alone said, you know, it's one of those moments where you either you do it or you don't.
Jim's parts went to somebody that really need to go to, because Brad's going to put them where they need to be.
But it's like he chose the best, or he either had it fixed. I don't know. It's special because I know what it takes for me to do this, and to think somebody accumulated all this. And in my mind, it's like, how do I turn all this back into functional Hemi cars? I got 2 pieces that are going to compete against each other. I only need 1 piece that's super flavorful. I'm just thinking about those flavors and how that's going to eat. And my only other rub is beets. Not everyone loves beets. And at this point, they're so awesome looking. I mean, they're really amazing, but I can't help everybody, right? What generation are you feeding? That's really important, right? Are you feeding a 20, 30-year-old? Or are you feeding a 40, 50-year-old? Are you feeding a 50 to 75-year-old? As soon as the chef says, I'm not going to incorporate any of the new styles, you might as well just put a ceiling on your ability and sign yourself out. To build a car, you got to mock a car up. To be able to be there and then fit it and know it works and then build a car. If you try to build a car and think every part's going to fit, you're going to go insane. Even a car that you tore apart and think it's going to go back the same, ain't going to happen. Food's the same way. You can design a plate in your head and think, oh my God, I'm going to make this happen, and find out it all looks like a jumbled mess, or it's all, you see, your whole plate's brown, or your whole plate's green. Every part has a story. Every part has someone's life or caught up in it, or how they went about getting it before it came into my hands.
I fit that one big double inside that black box perfectly.
All right.
These aren't too heavy.
Well, go ahead.
I was going to say wrap them, and maybe if they fit,
If
because
they
they're
fit,
about the same width.
Right, because there's a point where we're going to have to maybe go this way. Go ahead and put a sheet pan, leave that outside. Okay. tell you've got a menu, certain style, serve it, repeat it, serve it. And it's plated, buffet, continental, pretty standard, right? Here was, oh my God, it's way more complicated. This meal right here, when it's made, this one for 2,300 is probably over 10,000 pieces. Repetition, constant repetition, which makes I think it makes a real carb. I mean, what makes a great artist or a car builder or a chef is repetition, right? Repetition is the mother of mastery. Do it over and over again, and then hopefully you train your team to do the same thing and you create an outcome with a great product. By this time, some really cool shows were coming on television, like Boyd Coddington, Chip Foose, some cool shows. 3 miles from my house, in the front window of this used car lot, right, is a 68 Corvette. No lie. And I could see it, just driving home, I could see it out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, don't think I didn't think this. No, I did. Is this midlife crisis? Definitely had that thought. And I started tearing that car down in the front of my house. Took my staff, my employees, some of my chefs from my kitchen, like, hey, chef, what are you up to? I'm like, hey, come over. You know, we don't have any work during the summer. You can help me build this car. Not ever thinking that my culinary crew, my team from my kitchen would become car restoration guys, building cars, painting cars, tearing cars down, which is exactly what happens now. And as the years progressed, I'm like, Brad, these guys really love this. You know, you got to turn this into a business. This is a talent that you're literally going to just stifle. And these are some of my mechanics. And I'm like, you know what? So I turned it into a business. I turned it into West Coast Mopar, and eventually it also became All-American Classic Car Restoration, because we specialize in Mopar, because that's me. And then we have another division where I have mechanics that are really versed in Chevy and Ford. I mean, I didn't see parts laying everywhere and all confusing. I'm like, put all the parts right here. Lay all the parts like this. Well, these would go first, these would go second. These are the part of my recipe. I can't do this until I do this. Well, I can't make a sauce till I got a stock. And I just apply the technique. And I also shared it with my team. I'm like, hey guys, this is a recipe. And they got it.
Pieces on the top with the wood grain and everything like that. It's just got to be reassembled, making sure everything fits, because this goes on after the console goes in.
So did you guys have to still paint it and touch it up, or
yes,
you did?
Manual painted it,
okay,
because it was faded.
So what's really cool about this car, right? Original 1969 RT Charger, F5 green. This is a matching number, build sheet. This is a real deal. And the goal was to put this thing back to, it's over factory, it's just beyond factory. When you see the paint job and you see what's done, but the fact that you're gotten this far, oh my God, I'm so excited. So some of the key people that come from my culinary side into the car world, one key person is Manuel Acero. I mean, he was there from day one when I went on this journey. And now he's become the shop manager. Tyga came as a food and beverage managers at my catering side. All I can say is, for someone to take on something they don't know and start to do as well as he has in a short amount of time, I've never run across an individual that's taken on that much responsibility in a short amount of time, being able to really start to get a grip on it. Take me through the 70 Roadrunner. It wasn't a full tilt boogie show car, but it was still a rotisserie restoration where we take it down to raw metal. I've got some bubbles in my quarter and I got some imperfections here and here. Well, you fix it, right? So I tell Mo, bring the car up and we'll take care of it.
Basically, we have two bodies over there at the yard, so we're gonna bring those over and then see what on that body, what we have that's actually good enough to use on this one. Hopefully.
This car is one of the rarest cars we have, right? One of 74 of Hemi 4-speed Chargers ever made. We have to determine, we know quarters are coming off, we know this one railroad is coming off, but what we can't do is take anything that truly tells you it's a Hemi car. So when we come out of the season, we go into the car season building this car with a couple others, but one being the J code. But that's a matching number engine, carburetor, correct date code, 69. Everything's been done as close as we could to get it real. But you got to realize that you got a brand new car 50 years ago, you expect the car to be one color green. But there, depending on who made the part, they didn't quite capture the shade. So the car had 3 greens. So now to be the restorer on the other end 50 years later, we've got to capture that mistake. A lot of documentation went into trying to get this to be probably our most factory correct rebuild of any car we've done so far. But maybe on the edge of overdoing it. But I know, I'm not complaining.
You try to strive for whatever would be possible if the guy who was on the assembly line had a second or two extra to be able to do it right.
Wow. And it's all set up kind of just like we do in the kitchen.
So you don't have to run to Pep Boys or back to eBay or wherever, because the stuff's all right here.
Well, that's the theory. I'm not saying it always happens, but that's the goal, just like in the kitchen. So we're going from here to the car and not walking around the whole shop for every single part.
That's why I always ask, what's Brad cooking?
Right. Well, I have cooking TA and Charger. And J-code Hemi, well, I'll show you in a minute. Well, the quarters are all blown out, and you look at the back, but all that can be replaced, right? But I look here and I see solid floor pans other than where the 4-speed was, and they cut it out to make an automatic. When you're trying to prove to somebody you're building a Hemi car, especially a 68, these pieces are paramount. And then how the welds were done. The actual welds are very specific and how messy they were and how they were laid in. But at the end of the day, that's what scares all Mopar guys. It's the metal. Create a system, get the talent, do the metal, and you're halfway home to building a Mopar.
You still have inner fender wells, you got a firewall.
Right.
I mean, the floor is still pretty much there. I mean, it's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Is this worth doing, or would it be better just to kind of throw it away and make a tribute car or whatever the thing is? I mean, not that you would throw something away that was like this, but at what point is a car too rough to restore? And in this case, the answer is
these fall in the lines of Hemi Cudas and Hemi convertible 71 Cudas and Daytonas and Superbirds, right, in the world. I mean, the Charger is the most sought after muscle car in the Mopar world in the last 2 or 3 years. Right. It's an honor to even have it in this condition and to say that I could even think that I could eventually bring it back to life.
So it's accompanied by pepper and sea salt roasted root vegetables and a hummus stuffed heirloom tomato.
Right, what about those?
And hummus stuffed heirloom tomatoes.
Okay, or sriracha hummus stuff in. Now I'm looking for the equipment to be in place and the right people to know that they have actually set and materialized their stations to be able to accommodate all that food being cooked. So I'm getting ready to make my rounds to see if that's all happening. I'm not only thinking about food and flavor, but now it comes down to the minutia infrastructure things like, so this is a storyboard of one of many of exactly what my team's supposed to have done. To do this world-class party in one day. I'm going to design the best food that's flavorful, hot, that has a great presentation, that's moist, that hits these texture points. But there's no way, I am not going to fool myself. It is impossible to please 2,000. Someone's got an opinion. Vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, special dishes, dishes that are designed with heart conditions. My goal is to deliver. And I know I have to create the technology and the skills and the methodology to get myself as damn close to what I committed to as possible. Now replicate that 2,000 times. Where I'm 5 years from now is I better be 10 times the better trainer and mentor, leader than I ever thought about being. To take anything I care about and see any of it come to life in the next 10 or 20 years. I'm still trying to discover that because it's fascinating to me, knowing my love for cooking and my indulgence in all things food, my equal passion to Mopars in the world of restoration.